I'd like to work with just a handful of CROs. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe what I think is the future of go-to-market, companies that I'm already thinking about how to implement this with today. And then I'm going to talk about all the things that you would need to do to get ready for an AI future where in hours, not days, not weeks, not months, you could launch a whole go-to-market motion. So I'm going to go over my triangle, everything, all concepts can be explained in a triangle. And then this is a cry for CROs that meet a very specific set of criteria that I want to work with. Now, let me describe that criteria. These are vertical SaaS companies, so they only go after one industry. They can have multiple use cases, multiple personas, but they really only go after one industry that's not B2B SaaS. I'm not interested in targeting folks that go after B2B SaaS. What I'm interested in are folks that are targeting people in construction or the trades or chemical manufacturing. I'm looking at just vertical SaaS or life sciences, that kind of specificity where one customer is very similar to another. That way they can go really, really deep. I'm also interested in working with CROs that understand that data is your edge, that if you don't have great data, you have nothing. And so I am not interested in any type of leadership that is focused on trying to hire their way out of this problem or thinking about ways in which they can outsource their edge to other types of providers or channel thinking. I really want to work with people that understand that their edge is going to be a data moat. Now, let me dive into you the things that are necessary to be able to activate this, and then I'm going to describe my ICP, my ideal customer profile. I don't really talk a lot about my stuff on LinkedIn. I mean, I talk about the outputs of it, but I don't really articulate the types of things that Blueprint does and why. And this is going to be the most specific version of that vision so that you can see the things that I'm interested in and what I want to do with a very small number of companies. Let's dive in. All right, we've talked about this triangle in the past, but I'm going to specifically walk you through each of the edges of these triangle and the very center, and then I'm going to talk about different people that are playing in each of the edges of the triangle and how exactly I see this connecting together. So everything starts with your systems of record. This is your CRM. This is your customer data, and that means that you have stuff in a Snowflake database, that your CRM is clean, that you have domains clean, that you know who your leads are, you know where people are in the funnel. And there's a handful of, Guillaume, I'll tag him in this post, really can help you with cleaning the funnel stages. Sweep is another company that's going to really help with cleaning Salesforce. I'm going to tag Cliff here, who's done a bunch of RevOps stuff. And so you have to come in with a great system of record and realize that a clean CRM is your business. So let's put that aside. Let's say that you've either committed to this or you do have a beautifully clean CRM. Not many people do, but let's say that you do. The next vector of 10x improvement here is a system of information. Now, systems of information also usually live in these large databases. Now, in many cases, they are refreshed periodically every 30 days or so to get a clean capture of the market. And generally, I can help you build these things, but ideally, you have a sense of what this looks like. I think about a company like Blackbaud, who they're just a fantastic company that is very data forward, data thinking, right? And they want to go and scrape really specific information about Form 990s and donors. And so what I'm talking about here in the systems of information, and you need to be able to answer this question, assume that you could blend all of your internal data with all external data, and you don't even have to know where you get that data, but you have to kind of know it exists. What database would you build? What are the columns that you would build? What does that look like? Even sketch it out inside of a Google Sheet. Basically, all you have to do is say, if I could know this perfect information, this is data that I would invest to know about my market and over time, right? To constantly refresh. You have to have a data moat based on public data or blending of private data. So you've got a great system of record. You have a great system of information. Systems of action. This is also where I can be very helpful. This is a tool like N8N or Clay. There's not many tools in the systems of action, and not exactly these tools because they push to systems of action like a tool like HeyReach or a tool like Instantly or Smart Lead, right? We're talking about ways to deploy things into the market. And so I'm really looking for companies that have their shit together when it comes to a system of record, right? Or they're investing in this or want to invest in this. They have some opinions about systems of information, right? And generally, vertical SaaS do have opinions. And if you're big enough, your systems of information sometimes are data that you already have. And the system of action really is being able to deploy that information to market, right? So taking all the information from systems of record and systems of information, blending that. So blending your internal insights that your competitors can't copy and your external monitoring of the market, and then deploying that through a system of action, all through the system of intelligence. The system of intelligence is basically, you could think about it like a Claude project or a ChatGPT project, where there's context on your system of record, context on your system of information, connected to your systems of action, right? It's the centralized hub. And so that means that inside chat, inside just a basic Claude chat, you can basically prototype a go-to-market system. And by the way, these MCP servers, which Model Context Protocol, is just a way for the chat to talk to all of your databases recursively, right, to understand your intention and recursively query these three things until it gets satisfactory answers aligned with your goal. These MCP servers are only local right now, which is that they run locally and connect to systems, but now they're moving to the cloud. In the last month or so, this is moving to the cloud, which means that you can go action all this data without necessarily having just access to it on your desktop machine. So I'm looking to work for companies that see this vision, that have an idea about what their bespoke data looks like. Ideally, they've already cleaned up their systems of record. I'm going to tag people in each of these sort of functions here. I'm going to tag Jeremy and Jacob here for the MCP server stuff, so you can sort of see where we're going here. And I would love to be able to work with you to help deploy this vision. We are very close from a technical standpoint, but the thing is that you need a vision and framework with how all of this stuff talks together. And that's where my PVP framework comes in, permissionless value prop. How can you basically deploy an entire data team, the entire company, at every single interaction of the funnel? From the top of funnel to the mid funnel, all the way to closed won customers for customer success. This is the type of stuff that I can do. And there's only a handful of companies that I see that are capable of this. I'm thinking of Finally.com, run by KD as a CRO, Kyle Williams at Owner.com. These are the folks that have built this stuff, that they have invested heavily in data, and these are the types of companies that I want to work with. I do not want to send emails that say, saw you, blah, blah, blah. I do not want to be able to be confined to one channel. I would like to help you architect what the future of go-to-market looks like, but it's going to take bold leadership and people that are committed to data being your moat, that are willing to invest heavily in that vision. This is my vision, and I would love it if you would come join me. Thank you so much, and have an absolutely beautiful Thursday. Later.